Hello, Chef Michael here from Stuart Steakhouse, Stuart's Pizza, Stuart Selective Cuts. We want to thank you for voting on our home cooking demonstrations. This is something we want to do going forward, long term, and really just share the recipes that we're going to do in each one of our restaurants, but kind of in a home style cooking, all the ingredients you have at your house. So we want to thank you for your top pick. It was the artichokes. So I went to the farmer's market yesterday in Modesto, and Ledesma Farms, they're actually from Gustine, where I'm from as well. They had some nice artichokes. So I picked some up, and we're gonna do slow cooked in the crock pot. So first what we wanna do is we're gonna get a little boiling water in this pot. I posted the recipe online, I'll repost it again. But what we wanna do is, depends on what, how much you actually wanna drink out of the bottle. That's the funny thing. So you can do anywhere from a cup to 2 cups. So barefoot wine, long-term relationship with, something you're gonna learn in all these cooking demos is something that we're gonna meet with producers, local farmers, dairymen, cheesemakers, where we can really, we have that long-term connection, because that's what we are. We're the breadbasket of the world, and we really wanna showcase that with all of the restaurants and what we plan on doing. So adding to the water as well, we added the Barefoot Chardonnay, which we can chill that afterwards, and that'll be real nice to pair with it. So the garlic I'm just going to cut up in the top, because you have to remember this is going to be a long and slow term process. Acidity is very key when you're cooking artichokes because you don't want them to turn brown. So it keeps its nice flavor. So these lemons, what I'm going to do, I have a reamer here. I'm going to add all this acidity to the water. And we're going to put this right in the drink with that. And if you don't have one of these, they're not very expensive at the store. All you have to do is grab some tongs, and they do the same purpose. You just want to make sure you get all that acidity in there. It's going to build a really good base for flavor when the artichokes are finished. Chili flakes if you like spice. Do about a handful. Peppercorns, instead of just doing pepper, in it, it's not going to dissolve at all, so it's kind of going to make a mess on the artichoke. I do about a tablespoonful. And salt, you want to be very generous on this. Sugar as well, it's going to add that sweetness to it to cut out the bitterness. So we're going to go with 2 tablespoons of this. Last but not least, we're going to do a little white wine vinegar. Three tablespoons of this. Now this is going to come to a boil. As it comes to a boil, the first thing you want to get turned on right away is your crock pot on high so it gets hot. The reason we're doing the crock pot is because it has even heat. Unlike a big pot, you're going to have all your heat at the bottom, and you're not going to move the artichokes at all once you get going. So now we'll clean the artichokes. So just cut the bottom off. Cut the tops off. And if you really want to get fancy and impress your friends, you can trim each leaf a little bit, like so. If not, which we don't, we have a family of 6 here, so when we're cooking at home, at the restaurant I would do it, we're just going to take the bottoms off, tops off, and then we're going to clean them out. So this gets a little tricky. So this is the part that everybody, they boil halfway through, then they take out, they cut, and cut it. So I'm just going to use my bird's beak paring knife. and take all that out. Use a small spoon just to clean out the inside. These are, I would say, on the smaller side of size of artichokes. Large, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a little longer cooking time. Clean this out, and everything else is going to be edible. So as we do this each week, you know, I'm going to talk stuff in my past and how I grew up and what made me become a chef. But the funny thing about what I'm doing right now is I'm looking at the artichoke cart, and my mom, you know, love her to death, but learning now with the artichoke cart, she said it was unedible. And she would sit there at, you know, we'd all be done eating with our little leaves and probably stacks of 10 of them. We had a big family growing up too, about 6 of us. But she would save all, you know, the center part of it. And finally one day I said, Mom, what are you doing there? And she was eating them all behind us, or she would save them in a, you know, little container. And she was saving the artichoke hearts, which that's the biggest thing now. Learning as a chef, that's what people want, and she would sit there and eat the whole thing. So it's kind of funny now looking back, and you know, she had to work a lot and take care of 4 of us, but it's kind of a little treat to her. So we'll get all these cleaned up, and all we're doing right now with all that acidity in the water, it should keep it from turning brown as well. So I'll get all these cleaned up, and then we'll go to the next step. So our artichokes are right at a boil. I'm gonna check this out. Right where we want them to be. We just want to get the temp up real high on this water. Just with all that acidity and sugar, they're starting to open up a little bit. So the biggest key in this is once we get this going, we're gonna be set. So artichokes. I'm gonna go face up here. See, coloring's not brown at all. It's good. Then these lemons we want to keep in for that flavor. We'll kind of put those in between. Artichokes down. You always want the top side of it down, because if not, you know, that's where the heart cooks and everything else. The outside, it's kind of got a steam in this. So you can see we could do a lot more than 5. That's what we have for today, in different sizes. It's going to take different temperatures and length to cook. So once we get all of our good stuff in there, this boiling liquid I'm going to shut off. I'm going to put right on top. Good. And we're going to cover it. So as soon as that's covered, we're gonna let that come to a boil. We're gonna put it straight on low. And then in about half an hour to 45 minutes, I'll show you to check it. Okay, so once they came to a boil, we put it on low in the crock pot. And then what you wanna do is check. This is the best and friendliest gadget you can buy at the grocery store. It's a threader for basically doing a turkey. And what you can do is keep it in cold water, but to check any vegetables, like I just pulled out beets from the farmer's market. But what we're gonna do with this is just kind of stick it in and it comes right out. So that's the wellness. If it sticks at all and can't come out, it's not done. So these are done. And these are on the smaller side like we talked about. So what I'm gonna do now is just, you know, they're not falling apart at all, which is great. You wanna put them face down so the water can just drip out. Color's really nice, you know, it didn't turn brown at all. We really want the water to drain so it stops cooking. And then what I would recommend doing is ice bath is going to be a little too hard on it, can make it fall apart a little more. So I just do this, get them all out, and then put them right in your fridge on this cloth. Marinating the artichokes that have been fully cooked for 24 hours in balsamic vinegar. Just throw them right on the grill. So what I do is, you know, enough in a Ziploc bag just to coat it, a little salt, and olive oil. So also don't throw anything, the remaining lemon wedges or garlic. You can put that on top. So here we're going to pair it with the Barefoot Chardonnay. We have our chilled artichokes with a little spicy aioli that we made. You guys, you know, can get creative, make your own. If not, direct message me and I'll give you some recipes. So we just want to get a nice char on this, you know, for a little bit, just to get it basically extremely hot. It's not going to take very long because it's already cooked, like we talked about. So next week when we post, it's going to be everything that we want to do at the restaurants. You know, all three with the selective cuts, the Stuart's Pizza, and then the Stuart Steakhouse. So any recipes that we post is going to be featured on our menu going forward. So once this is done, basically you just get it nice charred up, and we're going to plate it up nice, and we'll show a photo afterwards. Thank you guys, and have a good day.